Hey guys, it's Mr. Fancy here, and I have decided that I am going to come to you guys with a midweek vlog each week because I've already read my first book for this month. So I thought, why not? I've been saying it for a while now, I should be doing midweek vlogs. So here I am. Let's talk about what I have been reading since we last spoke, which was about 4 days ago. Starting off with Miss Bourne's Well of Ascension. So, before I discuss what I have read with Well of Ascension, I'm going to let you know a little bit of a rule that I've imposed on myself, which is that I'm actually not going to rush through this book. In fact, I'm going to consciously be taking my time with this one. And so if this book takes the entire month to read, I'm not only not going to be upset with myself, but I'm going to be happy that I've allowed this world to last the entire month of March. So I'm purposefully going slow with this, pacing myself, and really trying to enjoy each and every chapter that I go through. In saying that, I am currently up to page 35, which is the start of chapter 4. It's been a really good read so far. There hasn't been a lot of things that have been going on at the moment, but I have to say Brandon Sanderson is known for taking his time with the beginning of his stories, and so that's to be expected. But just getting back into this world and being a part of the experiences with these characters and with this world and with this magic system has been absolutely amazing. So really happy to be back here and to be reading this book again. So, as you guys may recall, if you were present for my March TBR, I drew out 2 genres of books that I was going to read for this week, and I have read the first one. It was the adult horror Stephen King's Pet Sematary. So I have finished this one, and I am going to do a review on it at some point between now and my end of week vlog. But if you were here for my March TBR, you would recall that I was a little bit trepidatious going into this one. I haven't read a horror in a very long time, not for a good 15 or so years, and I'm just jumping into the deep end with this adult horror that on the bottom here actually says the words, the ultimate horror novel. So I was like, oh my gosh, here we go. And yet, I would not classify this novel as a horror. I wouldn't. I did not find this horrific. I didn't find it frightening. I didn't even find it disgusting at all. I know that this is a reading vlog, so I'm going to try and keep it as spoiler free as I can. But there are some paranormal moments that happen towards the end of the novel. There's one paranormal moment that occurs by around about the halfway mark, but there are quite a few that happen towards the end of the novel. But it's not a horror, at least not as far as I'm concerned. It didn't scare me at all, and if anything, I'd prefer to call it a contemporary with a little sprinkling of paranormal to the side. If it was a contemporary, I would be giving this 4 stars, but because it is a horror, I just don't feel it served its purpose of being a horror. It did not horrify me in any way. So because of that, I did end up giving this book 2 stars, and I will do a review on it at some point between now and my end of week vlog. The final book that we're going to discuss is F. Scott Fitzgerald's The Great Gatsby, because the second genre that I pulled out was classics, and this is my first classic that I'm reading this year, and first classic I'm reading for a very long time. So I am about, let's find out, 26 pages into this book, which gets me up to chapter 2. This is not a long book at all. I think it's 100 and something pages. 100 and... Well, the story itself is 172 pages. There's a, what do you call them? I don't know what you call it, like an index kind of thing at the back of the book. There's a footnotes. It's a footnotes book, so there are words that come up with numbers next to them, and at the back of the book it correlates with the number and kind of explains the words in a little more detail. And that's kind of included in the page count in this book. I I have gone over and looked at the footnotes here and there, but I'm not going to promise to keep going back to them because I don't really feel that I need them for the sake of just trying to enjoy the story. Excuse me. I'm not over analyzing the book or anything like that. I'm just trying to experience the story for what it is. So far, only one chapter in, so there's not really a lot that I can say about it. If I were to make a judgment call, right now I'm a little bit bored with it, but I mean, it's only the first chapter, so time will tell where we go from here. The writing style is easy enough for me to understand, and the plot is certainly simple enough to move along with and to, stay in the moment with, but honestly, it's just not really grabbing me at this point, which, yeah, is kind of sad considering that I just finished Pet Sematary and gave it 2 stars. This one's not really grabbing me, and the last 2 or 3 books that I read in February were either 2 or 1 star, so I'm really looking for a book that absolutely grabs me and just, takes me on a wild journey. So, that is the end of what I have been reading up to this halfway mark for this week. However, I'm going to pause this video, and when I come back, I'm going to be discussing with you some books that came into my library, and so they're going to kind of be added to my TBR, which is going to make my March TBR have even more books than are necessary, and there's just no way I'm going to get through every single one of them. But anyway, I'll pause, I'll go get those books and show them to you, so just a moment. Okay, so I have a number of books to discuss with you guys. I have 5 of them actually. 4 of them I did reserve, and 1 I picked out while I was actually at the library. So let's discuss them very quickly. So first of all, we have Carry On by Rainbow Rowell, and this book is basically about a wizard, I think it is. I don't know if you would call it a wizard or a magician or whatever, but anyway, it's about these kids that go to a magic school, and I mean, that just seems to be the formula for fun with me. It certainly worked with Harry Potter, not so much with magicians, but this is a YA novel, and I am looking forward to giving it a bit of a read. It is definitely a tome. Yes, it's a tome. Okay, this is a tome, so it will take a little while to get through, but I'm excited about it. So I did think for a moment that it was going to be an LGBTQ plus novel, but now I'm not so sure, and I think that was because of the author's name being Rainbow Rowell. I thought maybe the rainbow was referring to it being an LGBTQ plus novel, but it's not. It's a fantasy. So excellent. I'm looking forward to that. You guys, I'm missing fantasy so much. I know I have one fantasy outside of my bookends that I have on my TBR this month, but oh my gosh, at the moment, with having just finished Pet Sematary and also having started The Great Gatsby, which I really hope improves, at the moment I'm really thinking I should have just stuck with fantasy. The next book that I picked up from what I reserved at my library and placed on hold is The Night Watch, and this book is by Sergei Lukyanenko. I'm so sorry, Sergei Lukyanenko. The Night Watch. Now, this is a book that came up during an unboxing from my best friend YouTuber, a booktuber, who I still haven't revealed yet. Anyway, so she received a copy of this book from one of her subscribers, and as she unboxed it, and every time she unboxes a book she doesn't know anything about, she reads the blurb. She started reading the blurb, and the more she read, the more I went, oh my god, I have to read this book. And when she finished, she goes, sounds interesting, doesn't it, guys? And I'm thinking, yes, it does. I need to get it for myself. So I put it on hold, and yeah, this book, it seems to be about these beings who not only do they have magical powers and magical abilities, but they also need to choose, which choice is always a good thing. I love Divergent. I'm planning on potentially rereading it somewhere later on this year. But in case you didn't know, with Divergent, it's not too much of a spoiler, there are a couple of different factions, so different areas you can live in that mean and do different things. And once you become of age, you choose where you go. I've always loved the idea of giving choices to those who have abilities to, to choose a culture that they're going to go into. And this one is all about choosing whether you are going to fight for good or fight for evil. And if you fight for good, then you need to be protecting good against evil. And if you fight for evil, you need to be protecting evil against good. And it sounds really amazing. So I'm looking forward to getting to that one. The next book I'm incredibly excited to talk to you guys about because it is one that has been spoken about pretty much from any booktuber who loves fantasy. I am way behind because this first book in this really famous series came out an incredibly long time ago, but I'm going to get through this first book, or at least really try really hard to get through the first book. There are 12 books in the series, and it is the Wheel of Time series by Robert Jordan. Now, book number 1 is called The Eye of the World, and as you can see, book 1 in the Wheel of Time series. And yeah, I don't know anything about the series at all other than the fact that it is a fantasy, and I'm just really looking forward to seeing how it goes. So I'm just gonna jump right in without knowing anything other than people seem to really love this series and really love Robert Jordan's writing and the world building that goes on in the series. So we'll see how we go. Very excited about this one. Okay, the final book that those are the ones that I had that I reserved that came in. This next book I'm going to talk to you about is one that I found at my library. I did a little bit of browsing and it sounded a little bit interesting. It is called High Voltage and it's by Karen Marie Moning. High Voltage. And yeah, from the description on the back, it just really intrigued me. I'm not going to talk too much about it, but yeah, I'm intrigued by it. And if I have time this month, because I have so many books, I think I have had 9 books in my March TBR. The 3 I've shown you already from our library make it 12. This makes it 13. So there you go. Hopefully I'll get to this one. The final book that I picked up from my library, I only picked up yesterday. I picked those 4 up on Monday, but I picked this last one up yesterday. So I was talking to 2 friends of mine that I work with who one of them has seen the film The Pet Sematary. The other one has seen the film The Pet Sematary plus read the book. And I kept saying to them, look, does it get scary? Because it's not scary right now and it's upsetting me because I wanted to read a horror and da-da-da-da. Anyway, so I spoke to my friend yesterday who had seen the film and said, look, it just didn't scare me at all. And I want a horror that's going to scare me. And she said, you know what? Let's go to the library and I'm going to take some of the, show you some of the books that I've read. And, you know, I assure you that they will scare you. And so we ended up going with Stephen King again. So I'm going to give him another chance. I only got 2 stars with Pet Sematary, but he gets another chance with The Bizarre Stories of Bad Dreams. Now, it says stories for a reason. This is a collection of short stories that Stephen King wrote. My friend's theory is, and not only theory, she's actually read the book, but after reading the book, her theory is that with short stories, because they are so short, they need to pack a punch within the limited amount of pages that are contained within each story, and so they need to get right onto the action and right into the horror as quickly as possible. So I'm going to try and read this book, but I think I'm going to just here and there, maybe even between books, read one of the stories, then pick up another book, then read another one of the stories, and hopefully this does a much better job at scaring me than Pet Detective did, because it just, Pet Sematary did, because it just really did not scare me. So thank you to my friend for picking this out for me. And yeah, my friend apparently is also a writer, and I was talking to her yesterday about potentially reading some of her stuff and then talking about it on my channel. So that may be something that we come up with in the future, where I do read some of her works and discuss them with you guys. But in the meantime, that is your update, and I'm so glad I got to talk to you guys now here at the midweek mark, because otherwise we would have just had way too much to talk about. We would have run out of time at the next one. But that's kind of where things stand at the moment. I'm a little bit of the way through Well of Ascension, but taking my time. I finished Pet Sematary, it got 2 stars, and I am through the first chapter of The Great Gatsby. Not really enjoying it so far. It's kind of a bit boring for me, but it still has time to get interesting for me. So we'll see how we go. And then we have all those library books that I showed you before. So lots of reading happening and still lots of reading to come. If you have any comments, thoughts, or questions, please do not hesitate to let me know in the comments space below. But I will leave that there so I can go back to reading The Great Gatsby. Wish me luck. I want another 4 or 5 star book. Hopefully I get it with The Great Gatsby. We'll see how we go. But in the meantime, once again, letting you guys go. Peace, blessings, and so much love. Thank you so much for watching. Mwah, and happy reading. Bye. See you at the end of the week. Bye.